Hello Sagittarius and welcome to your monthly horoscope for May. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the key details to look out for, but then please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in detail each of the key influences and dates for your sign in particular. Now, as we come into this new month, of course, there was a solar eclipse, a black moon, right at the end of April. But that was combining with Mars, the planet of drive. Now, Mars is in your sector of emotion and home as you begin this month. But the Sun and the Moon in the eclipse was in your sector of practicalities. So I think if you're wanting to really get on the front foot as you come into this month, especially around practicalities like making your home run that much more efficiently, working from home particularly, perhaps decluttering, getting everything running like a well-oiled machine, I think you're going to have lots of motivation to do that this month. But gloriously, the three other big things to tell you is that Venus, Jupiter, your ruler, and Mars all move into the fifth house, the sign of Aries, which shares your fire triplicity. And that's a very outgoing place for all three to be. And in the last week, Jupiter and Mars are going to be in a conjunction. So all that energy can be very positive for your sign in particular. Now, if you are new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to ascend above this Zodiac broadcast and understand how your natal astrology is working for you, you can order a 12-month forecast and get a character analysis and get 30% off. No two charts are the same, and gain Syrian insights to your prospects in the months to come. Please see the link below. And finally, before I give you that in-depth forecast, if you would like to get your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, please see the link below. So Sagittarius, as you come into May, your forecast this month begins with a fantastic opportunity to supercharge all the parts of life which actually at times can seem a little bit unsexy. You know, this is the stuff about how much exercise we get, whether we're eating quite as optimally as we can. It's whether we're as organised as we can about our daily routines. That's what the sixth house represents. But the solar eclipse doesn't give you that opportunity just for this month. It does for the next 6 months. So big changes can be triggered by this, and it may even be around your work. Because Mars is supportive to this black moon as you come into this month, I think you're going to be very motivated. And that could be around making changes at home to make your everyday environment work that much more efficiently. But Mercury, the planet of communication, is in shadow as we begin this month, and by the 10th it goes into a retrograde. So care is going to be needed in terms of your interactions with others. Make sure that details are very carefully applied to all those transactions or exchanges that you have. But in the first 10 days of this month, Jupiter, your ruler, even though it begins the month in a more sheltered location in your sector of home and family, it's actually forging a really positive link to Pluto. Now, when these two get together in a constructive way, it can be very good for finance. And Pluto is in your sector of everyday finance. So a matter linked to property, I think, can be very positive for you across this first third of the month. Then on the 2nd, Venus, the planet of charm, of attraction and allure, moves into your 5th house. This is glorious. If you have children, your interaction with them, your enjoyment of their talents and skills and activities can really be heightened. If you're single, Venus moving into your 5th house is going to make you give out a much more alluring vibration. Now, because Jupiter, your ruler, joins up with Venus on the 10th, that gives you the potential to be a little bit more risk-taking in your approach. Now, very few people walk across the road without looking, or at least listening to the sound of traffic approaching. So I'm not talking about being reckless, but if you are someone who does get a little bit of a buzz from taking on challenges and perhaps grappling with ideas that are fresh, creative and show your flair, Jupiter can support you in a really significant way in its transit through the sign of Aries, which of course is your sister fire sign. But from the 12th through to the 16th, the Sun does start to forge a right angle with Saturn. Saturn continues in your sector of everyday interactions, how we think, how we speak, and anything to do with technology. I think at the very heart of this month, despite the very positive news coming in for you, I think there could be a potential to actually try to do a little bit too much. Now, if you can just make sure that the things that you are focusing on are critical strands, that will help you to be productive. If you spread yourself too thinly, a little bit of stress could show up, particularly on the back of the lunar eclipse, which occurs on the 16th and squares to Saturn too. So we've all got only a limited amount of physical and nervous energy, and if you can just really apportion it to the strands that are most vital to you, so really prioritize, that will help you to ward off this potential for a little bit of nervous exhaustion, I feel, at the heart of the month. But the 21st does see the Sun make its way into your sector of relating, which is good for how you come into contact with others. The 23rd, Mercury rewinds in its retrograde into the 6th house, even more important to marshal those details very carefully and precisely. But the 24th is just a fantastic day for you, because then Mars joins with Jupiter and briefly with Venus in your 5th house. But critically, Jupiter and Mars come together in a conjunction in the last week. This is really going to give you a sense of positivity and drive, willpower and optimism that you haven't perhaps had for some while. If you are wanting to have a family, or you're wanting to start a business that is a little bit more imaginative, or you're wanting to socialize a lot more, there's lots of strands this month to really help you to achieve those hopes. Now, the 28th does see Venus move into the sign of Taurus, but it governs this sign. So if there is an area that you do need to work with, but perhaps you need to work with others to achieve your goals, your diplomacy is going to be important. But the new moon that occurs on the 30th is back in your sector of relating. So with all this 5th house energy, which is very exuberant, it's very warm, it's very affectionate, it can draw a lot of admiring glances in your direction, coupled with the move of the Sun into your opposite sign, and then that fantastic new moon as the month draws to a close. I think this could turn out to be one of the most positive months you've had for many a month, Sagittarius, and I think it's something that you have a real opportunity to make progress with. There is a little bit of a gotcha, I guess, between the 13th and the 23rd, when Mars and Neptune go into a conjunction in your 4th house. Important to stay clear-minded about a matter related to your family or an emotional issue. You could feel a bit defensive, but actually you need to get all of the information at your fingertips before you really decide what to do. But in general, despite the Mercury retrograde, there's so much for you to go for this month. It's just marshalling the energy and the activities that you need to really focus on in a very prioritized way.